Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Off Track Sports, the second edition of Off Track Sports. And we have some NFL to talk about, a little NBA, and then I'll be finishing it up with my solo college football chat, as we did have an update with the college football playoff rankings yesterday. And everybody wants to ask about Lane Kiffin. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But of course, as always, I am joined by the Pacecar Boys of Cory and Tyler. Tyler, how are we doing here today?
Doing good, man. Another day in the neighborhood. It's finally gotten some sunshine. Feeling better.
Yeah, just another day. I mean, I'm glad we got some sunshine. I got some sunshine here in the Valley of the Sun. It's been raining a lot over these last couple of days, last couple of weeks, and finally we have some sun brought back and some cold weather actually coming through as well. But speaking of the sun, this guy is the Sun super fan. We got Cory over here. Show them the jacket. This jacket is nice. This is a nice jacket. It's like,
Yep.
is that the warm up jacket? Is that what that is or no? No, yeah, there's a hoodie on that.
Nah, it's just a jacket.
Yeah, there's a hoodie. I was say there's a hood on that.
No, it's just a jacket.
Okay,
It's a jacket, half jacket.
that's dope. But how are the Suns been doing? How are they doing? They play NBA Cup tonight. I'm pretty sure is what you were saying before we went live.
Correct. They're doing good, especially with a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. They have a good coach, man. They're next man up mentality, and we haven't had that in a couple of years. So it's exciting to watch. Hustle. Last Friday, they were down by 8 with 50 seconds left. Down Devin Booker, who fouled out. Down Dylan Brooks, and they managed to come back and beat the Timberwolves. And Anthony Edwards got me free Chick-fil-A since he decided to miss 2 free throws in clutch time. So, it was just a win-win all around.
Freaking Ant missing in clutch time. That's maybe he did that on purpose. That might have been intentional. Maybe he knew. Maybe he knew the benefits of what was coming up. As some of you know, I don't watch a whole bunch of NBA, but my team finally won yesterday. We're 2-15. We're the what the fuck? 2-15. We're so bad, the Washington Wizards, but we're getting better. We beat the Hawks. We're getting better. We got some NBA Cup tonight as well. We got like the Spurs playing. Who are the Spurs playing again tonight? I love Wemby.
The Spurs are playing the Trailblazers at Portland.
Ooh, is Dame playing?
I don't think so.
Damian Lillard
I
not
imagine
playing?
not. Because didn't he tear his Achilles or something in the playoffs?
I think so. Playing. Yeah, I don't know if he's back yet. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of NBA. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, no, I think it's just on the bench watching.
But yeah, I'll start watching again. I'll start watching a shitload of games if the Wizards get good. But we're 2-15 right now. It's pretty bad. That's pretty freaking bad. But yes, NBA Cup action tonight. Those floors are cool. The hardwood floors that they be doing, those crazy designs that they be doing. They've gotten better with that. I feel like at first when they were doing that, it was a little bit goofy, Cory. And I think they've gotten better with the floors, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they've done a lot better. I think the first year it was like almost it hurt your eyes.
It was too much.
It was kind of weird to see. Now they've it's still bright colors, but they've had some good contrasts in there to make it more pleasant for the eye. And dude, in person is awesome. That orange floor the Suns had, dude, I'd go back again, for a cup game. That was pretty badass.
Like, I felt like that first year they were all like trying to be Boise State or something. Like Boise State got the blue turf. I feel like they were all trying to do some fluorescent shit like that, and it was just too much. It was like way too much. But I like them now. I think it's pretty.
Oh.
What's up? I'm not a big fan of the tournament though. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. I don't know what they could.
Goofy.
I guess it's cool for the players if you have a lot of players that are young that haven't been paid yet, because I think if they all win, they all get like $500K each. And I know definitely
that part's cool.
About that today, and he's like, I'm trying to win for them. But other than that, I mean, I think the NBA is just trying to add something different. Long seasons, the games get repetitive. Unless you're a diehard fan who wants to watch every game, it can get old, I guess. But I like something different, but the tournament itself is really dumb. Like, you don't even know who's in and who's out unless they start talking about the seeding 3 or 4 times a game, because it gets confusing that you can be 2-0, but because you didn't score enough points, you're not in the tournament.
It's kind of weird. I feel like they're trying to be like soccer, because soccer has all these like in season tournaments. They're trying to do that sort of thing. It also just creates like another trophy, I guess. It's just, and like what you
Yep.
said, it gives the players more money. It also brings a lot more sponsors. It brings in more sponsors. Like, hey, you want to sponsor this special tournament that we're doing? You know, that brings in other sponsors. And NBA is more of an international series compared to a lot of other professional sports. I would say it's very international, especially with how, like, you see it, Corey. All the best players in the NBA nowadays are all not from America. It used to be 90% United States. You throw a couple of Canadians in there, maybe one or two Europeans, and you'd get like a Yao Ming every once in a while or something. But now I feel like NBA is mainly international. Wouldn't you say? All the best players are international. And Jokic is doing special
Yep.
things. Joker is that guy is special. It doesn't even look like he's trying out there. He doesn't even like if he's the Babe Ruth of the NBA. Like he doesn't look like it or anything. He's just
Yeah.
that guy is scary good.
He's in a league of his own. Like, I don't
He's like
a
averaging a triple
player that
double or something.
efficient, a center that efficient that can do everything so nonchalantly and awkwardly in a way. It's just, I don't know. There's nothing like it. Like, because a bad game by him is still better than probably everybody but one on the floor. Like, it's just, he's insane.
Yeah, Jokic is a cheat code. He rather go be with his horses, right? He rather go be. That's his passion, right?
Yeah,
Is his horses, his horses.
he just happens to be good at basketball.
He just
And when I
happens to
mean
be good at
good,
basketball.
the best on the floor in the NBA.
There's like this guy that makes like you've probably seen him. He makes like these funny ass videos. He puts like pantyhose on his head or something, and he pretends that he's like Jokic, and he's just like it's like yeah, that's Jokic. I love that guy. Jokic he's special. That guy is special. I like Luka too. Obviously, Luka's one of my favorites, but Jokic, if he keeps on this trajectory and he doesn't get like some serious sort of injury, he could potentially be one of the best of all time. Wouldn't you say, Corey? He could potentially be like one
I
of the
agree.
best, like a top five, maybe even a top three sort of guy.
I agree. I can see him finishing with 5+ MVPs. Like,
Yeah,
he's that talented.
it's insane. Like I remember when Russell Westbrook years ago was like getting a triple double almost like every game, and now you see Jokic literally doing it every single game. Like this guy can pass, he can shoot it from deep, he can get in the paint, he can get a bunch of rebounds. He just does it. And he does it all nonchalantly, like you said. Imagine if he didn't. Imagine if he like he works probably really 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 hard. But imagine if he had like the LeBron James sort of like work ethic. Like imagine if he
Athleticism?
the athleticism is that's a better way to put it. Like the athleticism that LeBron James has had his whole career. I just can't even imagine what he could potentially do at that point. I could see him dunking from the 3-point line at
And
that point.
and you bring up Russell Westbrook, and a lot of what Russell Westbrook was doing was stat padding. And I'm
Yeah,
not disrespecting him in any way, but I'm just
I
saying, like,
agree.
a lot of what he was doing, he would stay in till the last 20 seconds while they were up 25 to just get that extra rebound. Versus,
Mhm.
like, imagine if Jokic did that. He'd probably finish with the first 20-20-20 if that's ever been done. You know what I mean? Like,
Jokic
I
might
don't know.
foul out
He's
before
in a
that.
world of his own. 20-20-20 and 6 fouls.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to some. Let's get to a little bit of NFL talk. But check out the NBA Cup tonight. We got some good games. It sounds like on tonight. But let's get to some NFL talk. And I can't believe I'm doing this, but the Browns are up to something. The Browns might be good. I don't think I've ever said that before. Even when they had Baker, even when they had Peyton Hillis getting on the Madden cover, I don't think I've ever in my life said the Browns might be good. And I'm saying might in a I don't know. I don't know if they are good or not. But but Shedeur finally had his first start. And we will talk about Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett is freaking insane. But let's talk about Shedeur first because Shedeur Sanders finally got his first career start. Struggled last week against Baltimore, but this past weekend against the Raiders, a team that he was rumored to go to throughout the whole entire NFL draft process, who ended up skipping over him 7 times, who have been really struggling with Geno Smith at quarterback. I think his time is up. Just a little side note, I think his time might be up over there. But taking a look at the stats on your screen, Dillon Gabriel, I think, has done a decent job. He's had 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the year. Overall, Dillon Gabriel, the 3rd-round pick for Cleveland, has done a decent job, but it seems like they don't really trust him to make those big plays, make those deep balls. They're just having him dump off the ball throughout most of the season. And I got a couple of crazy stats here that I've actually found. Lowest average yards per pass, 5.1 for Dillon Gabriel. In the whole NFL, these stats are for. Lowest yards per game, 117.1. Lowest longest pass, 26 yards. And tied for 4th in the lowest completion percentage. I think only J.J. McCarthy, Davis Mills, and I can't remember who the other guy was that was below him for the lowest completion percentage. And each of these quarterbacks have 3+ starts. And then Shedeur on Sunday had 2 passes that were over 50 yards in themselves. Went 11 for 20, over 200 yards in the air. Threw that really bad interception. I remember watching that interception, a really bad interception. But other than that, had a decent game, and he has been given the starting job for at least this week against the 49ers, fresh off defeating the Panthers on Monday Night Football. But Shedeur Sanders, he had a good game. I wouldn't say he had like this legendary game, but he definitely had some legendary quotes too. I think before the game, he said that the Browns he was like referencing him getting the starting job and him being the Browns quarterback. It's like, I'm what they've been waiting for. Said some stuff after the game too. Definitely very confident in his ability. I think some people would look at it as cockiness. I think I look at it as confidence because if you look at it last week, when he played horrible, he came out and immediately said he played bad. Like, he came out and played. He said he played bad last week during his press conference. He said he didn't play very good. So I just think he's just being honest what he personally thinks. I think some people can definitely look at it as cockiness, but he had a good game. And interesting stat as well, he's the first quarterback for the Browns in their first career start for the Browns to win in their first career start for the Browns since I think it was 1996. So great job by Shedeur. Like I said, not an amazing game, but a good game. I remember when he made that like 50-something yard pass down the field. It was like just a rainbow dot down the field when he was on the run. He played well. He didn't play amazing. He played well. Tyler, what are your thoughts on all this, on Shedeur Sanders getting the start? What do you think about his performance, and do you think he deserves the starting job this week?
I mean, he's played better than any of the rest of the idiots they've put out, so I guess why not? But I don't know. I'm not too diehard on him. I mean, nobody's seen any tape on him. There's not really much to see, so it's really questionable.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely very, very questionable on how he's going to perform. I'm not positive. That's why I kept on saying might, because if Shedeur turns out Shedeur's ceiling is very high. I think Shedeur's ceiling is very high. I wouldn't quite say it's like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or something like that, but I think his ceiling is very high. I think he could be a really great quarterback, but I also think he can be a really bad quarterback too as well. I think it could really go either way, but I saw some moments during that game. I wanted to make sure I paid attention to that game. It was one of the games I watched more during the weekend because I really wanted to see how Shedeur did. And I definitely saw some glimpses. I saw some moments. I saw some spots where Shedeur Sanders could potentially be a superstar starting quarterback in the league and potentially be the first good Browns quarterback since Baker Mayfield, and they got rid of him. And before Baker Mayfield, it was probably Otto Graham back in the 1950s. But Cory, what are your thoughts on Shedeur getting that first career start and his performance? Do you think he should get another week at the starting job?
Yeah, I mean, I think either way you look at it, you can kind of think he did. I mean, because I think Shedeur comes with this personality that people either hate him and are rooting for his downfall, or people are diehard fans of him and are waiting for him to get a shot. He got the shot, and were his stats crazy? No. Did he have a great game? I would say average. And
I would agree.
so it feeds both sides of the argument. Each side could be like, well, it's because the defense, and but
The Raiders do
like,
suck.
oh no, he did good. I mean, I think, yeah, it's also against the Raiders, so it's like, and they also have like the best defensive monster in the NFL. But I mean, you give him his flowers. He got him a win in his first start, and the stat you just brought up is crazy. I didn't know that, but I'm same with Tyler. I've yet to see anything. I wasn't impressed too much with College State, which I think he was drafted probably where he probably too late, but I don't know. Dylan Gabriel also, like, you saw those yardage per pass attempts. I don't know if that's offensive coordinator or if that's him, and I think that's probably
it's a mixture.
he's been on a leash.
Yes,
I think he's been on a leash, and now that he's hurt, and you can see like even the coach after they won, he was hyping up the punt like bunch of players, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and good job, rookie."
Good job, Shedeur.
Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. It's so many like weird hints on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Shedeur proves them wrong because it'll be a good story. But honestly, like, I don't know. I'm getting weird vibes from the Cleveland. So hopefully, the pain that they've gone through, they can figure something out because they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So that's the hardest thing to build. So hopefully they can do something with it.
And it's not a surprise they're getting weird vibes from Cleveland. They are the Browns. They're the Cleveland Browns. Like, I'm not surprised at all you're getting weird feelings about the Browns. The Browns had weird feelings about the Browns, and then they moved to Baltimore and had to make a new team and called themselves the Browns. So even the Browns got a bad feeling about the Browns sometimes. But speaking of the Browns, Myles Garrett, you're talking about his defense, Cory, and Myles Garrett has been freaking insane. And I'm a Steelers fan. I've been very open about, not on this, but I've been open in my life just in general, that I am not a fan of Myles Garrett. He pretty much tried to kill Mason Rudolph. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. I'm not a fan of Myles Garrett. He goes into the offseason and complains how he's losing all the time, and then he gets more money from the Browns, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go back to the Browns. And then he complains that they're losing all the time. So I don't like that about Myles Garrett, but I can't take it away that this guy is a monster. He is a complete monster. If he's not winning Defensive Player of the Year, I don't know who is. If you asked me a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said Micah Parsons, but Myles Garrett's had an insane last couple of weeks. Myles Garrett has 18 sacks on the year. Second place in sacks is Brian Burns with 13 sacks. In the last 4 weeks, alone, Myles Garrett has 13 sacks. So if Myles Garrett only played the last 4 games, he would be tied for the league leader in sacks, which is fucking nuts. That is nuts. That is insane. He has 6 games remaining to potentially break the record, which is currently held by my boy TJ Watt and Michael Strahan. Both have 22 and a half sacks for the single season record. All he needs is 4.5 to tie and 5 to break the record over the next 6 games. Myles is miles ahead. He's the best defensive player in football by far. This is a scary man, and he's smart. He's smart as shit too. Like, I'll be straight up honest about Myles Garrett. Like I said, I am not a fan of Myles Garrett. I don't like the guy. I honestly despise the guy. He might be my least favorite. He might be my second least favorite player in the NFL now after Jamar Chase. He's probably still my least favorite player in the NFL because I'd rather probably get spit on than get whacked over the head with my own helmet. So, not a fan of Myles. This is coming from someone who really does not like Myles Garrett. I'm making that very clear. I do not like him. But he is by far the best defensive player in the NFL this year. And I'm wearing a TJ Watt jersey right now saying that. Myles Garrett is freaking amazing. He's amazing. He is every quarterback's nightmare. But I guess I'll start with you guys. I'll start with Tyler. I This is insane what this guy Myles Garrett's been able to do. I'd say he's a lock for if he gets injured right now and is out for the rest of the season. He just give him Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Myles Garrett?
Man, the guy's always been a beast. I see why Cleveland literally gave everything they could to him. Like, the man's always been an absolute beast. Like you said, he's a machine.
He is. He's crazy. What he's able to do on the defensive side of the ball is just freaking insane. He's a menace on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, he's a quarterback's worst nightmare. He's fantastic. He's really good. And I don't know I don't think anybody can compete with them for Defensive Player of the Year. Not even Micah Parsons at this point. Cory, what are your thoughts on this amazing season for Myles Garrett?
I'm not trying to oversay what I mean, but I think he's one of the best ever. And
Yes,
especially of this generation. If you think about it, like there's 5 names. There's a top 5 for me, and it's pretty solid for the last 20-ish years. It's obviously you have the Watt brothers.
Yeah.
And right now it's currently Parsons and Garrett, and then Aaron Donald. I think that's my 5 for defensive linemen for the past 20 years. Like, that's your 5. And
Ray Lewis.
We're lucky that most of them are still playing. I said defensive linemen.
Oh, defensive linemen.
I think that's the top 5 for the last 20-ish years.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I'd probably agree.
Debatably, all of those are Hall of Famers, so it's like, he's just in a league of his own right now. Like, it's the 13 sacks in 4 games, you said? Insane. So, I don't know. Like, it's crazy because I think that he was probably one of the biggest stories. Like, he wanted out.
Bad.
But Cleveland's like, we know the talent we got. We're keeping you. And so, like, he's complaining about losing. But, dude, you're not losing at home. Like, you're not losing at home. Yeah. So, but I don't know. It's awesome. It's awesome to see, especially it's nice. I mean, it sucks that they suck as a team, but it's cool that they have someone to root for. I think that's, as a fan of any team, you want a guy. You want a jersey that stays around. And loyalty means something. And even though he's shown that he's not really loyal, it's nice for the Browns fans to have someone so talented to root for and have a jersey that they can be prideful in owning.
I think the only thing that Myles Garrett is loyal to is money. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I don't have a great opinion on Myles Garrett just because of what you just said. How
he's sacking the quarterback.
He's like I said, he's a pure talent, but every offseason he complains how they lose so much. And then this season he made it like such a big deal how he wants out, how he wants out of the Cleveland Browns and everything. And then they gave him a record-breaking contract, and then he was just so happy to be a Brown all of a sudden. It's just like, all right, dude. He's amazing though. He's a great player, and he tried to kill Mason Rudolph, but he's a great player. He's a really really great player. But speaking of Mason Rudolph, he had, I wouldn't say he had a bad game. If you look at his stats, had a decent game. I think he did for us against the Bears what was asked of him, what Artie Smith asked of him, our offensive coordinator. I think he did everything that was really needed from him, but obviously it wasn't enough. But obviously at the same time, the offensive coordinator of Artie Smith doesn't trust Mason Rudolph to spin the ball, and apparently doesn't trust Aaron Rodgers to spin the pill either. I don't think he trusts either one of them to really make those deep passes, make good balls. Rudolph didn't make any deep passes on Sunday. I was texting y'all while it was happening, and I ended up finding out the stats afterwards. Like, yeah, he didn't do anything. Mason Rudolph against the Bears only threw 5 passes. Only 5 passes past 10 yards. That is an insane stat. Only 5 passes that he even attempted to go past 10 yards. And one of those 5 passes was a completion, and one of those 5 passes was an interception. And an even crazier stat, Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers combined in the whole month of November have yet to complete a single pass over 20 yards and 2 interceptions, and they've had 2 interceptions. So by over 20 yards, I mean 20 yards in the air, not it was caught at 1 yard and then ran 19 yards. I mean 20 yards through the air. They have yet to complete a single pass in the whole month of November. And then Aaron Rodgers is questionable for this weekend against the Bills. Me personally, I think you two know me. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm about to say. It's Willie H time. It's Will Howard. I want Will Howard in the game. We've had Mason Rudolph for years. He was in Tennessee last year, and he didn't do great with the Titans competing with Will Levis over there in Tennessee last year. And he was our backup quarterback for, I want to say, 4 or 5 seasons and did an amazing job as our backup quarterback. And he even had an opportunity to potentially win the starting job at one point, ended up losing out, and Kenny Pickett got drafted and everything changed for Mason Rudolph. But at one point, Mason Rudolph was given an opportunity to potentially be our starting quarterback and didn't do bad, didn't do great either. The one thing I do like about Mason Rudolph is he's a great leader. He's a great leader. The boys in the locker room love him. He's great. And I would love for him to be a Steeler for life. I would love for him to sign a lifetime contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers as the backup quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Charlie Batch. Reminds me a lot of Tommy Maddox. Those two guys were backup quarterbacks for many years for the Steelers and were really great backup quarterbacks. And I think Mason Rudolph is that. He's a backup quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is not 100%. I would love to see national champion Will Howard from Ohio State at least be able to show what he can do before we get into the offseason. Because let's be honest, we're probably losing in the first round. The Steelers are probably making the playoffs, and we're going to lose in the first round. I've accepted that. That's probably going to happen. So I would really like to see what Will Howard can do with the football before we go into the whole draft process again and draft another quarterback, or even think about drafting another quarterback. Because I'm pretty sure I told you too, Tyler, but I know I told Cory like months before the draft. I was saying how much I wanted Will Howard. I want this guy. He's Big Ben. He's Big Ben. But he can run the ball better than Big Ben did. But other than that, he's Big Ben. I would love for him to be our starting quarterback, or at least get the opportunity to be the starting quarterback. But I guess I'll send it to you guys. What do y'all think about these stats from Rudolph? Tyler, I guess start with you. Like Rudolph and Rodgers both aren't really being trusted to throw the deep ball. They're just kind of doing these little dump offs and screen plays all the time. Like, you think they should at least give Howard maybe a shot? You think they should put Rodgers out there? Rodgers played great, by the way. He's had a great season, but he's not being trusted to throw these deep balls. He's throwing screens and little dump offs most of the time.
I don't see Howard coming out there and being allowed to throw those at all. Like, if you're not going to trust Aaron Rodgers to sling it, you're not going to trust anybody to sling it.
It's a valid point.
At that point, you're really just wasting your time. That's obviously a coach problem, not a player problem.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's been a difficult year when it comes to Artie, because I think Artie Smith and Rodgers and the Steelers offense really started off strong, but these last couple of weeks have been a lot like when we had Matt Canada, our offensive coordinator, and we fired Matt Canada. That was the first time the Steelers had ever fired a coordinator during the season. It's never happened before until Matt Canada. And Artie Smith is giving me those Matt Canada vibes over these last couple of weeks, because he doesn't really trust Rodgers to really sling the ball. And at the beginning of the season, Rodgers was slinging the ball, and over the last couple of weeks, he hadn't really been slinging the ball as much. And then obviously last week he got hurt and he didn't play this week. Like I said, I think Rodgers has had a good season, but if Rodgers isn't 100% and they don't trust Rudolph whatsoever to really do anything, and the one time he does get trusted to do something, he throws an interception. He almost threw a second interception, throwing it past 10 yards, and it got dropped by the same guy who picked the ball in the same spot earlier on in the game. Like I said, I like Mason Rudolph, but he should not be the starter of the football team. So I would love to see Howard out there, but I agree with you, Tyler. If they don't trust Rudolph, who's a veteran, been around for a long time, to make those passes, they might not trust Will Howard to make those sort of passes either. Well, I would at least like to see him out there personally. But Cory, what are your thoughts on all this? Mason Rudolph, Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers just really struggling on the offensive side of the ball.
I think it's more. It could be coordinating, but I think it's more that the team doesn't trust the receiver depth. I think you guys have
Yeah,
Metcalf,
that's
and you guys
valid
have
too.
good tight
We had
ends, and you
Calvin
guys have
Austin, yeah.
good depth at running back. So I think you guys have a smart coach. You guys have rosters that have always sucked on paper, and you guys somehow end up above 500 all the time. And it's because of smart coaching. It's because of what the Eagles are doing, like where it's playing to win and playing calculated versus getting the highlight reel. And they're playing with their strengths right now. I don't think you guys trust your receiving core other than Metcalf, and Metcalf's getting doubled,
I would agree with that.
all that. So I I I would like to see Will Howard play, but I think it'd be a calculated play. I don't think you play him against the Bills because the Bills have a good pass defense, and if he plays bad, you ruin his confidence. But if it was me, I'd hopefully let Rodgers get 2 or 3 weeks more of rest, and then have him play against Baltimore in 2 weeks, and then Miami after that, because those are bad pass defenses, and he could, probably put up Shedeur stat lines, maybe a little bit better than that, and you guys would be happy. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I think with rookies, confidence is a big thing. And, like, if you look at the Vikings and McCarthy, like, he has a lot of talent on that team, but he cannot stop throwing interceptions, which is going to kill his confidence and get him probably replaced soon. Because
he has the lowest completion percentage.
And honestly, doesn't he have like 15 interceptions or something crazy? It's like, I don't know. You just got to be calculated with rookies, man. And that's what the Steelers are doing. Because I think they believe in Howard just like you do. It's just they're being calculated. Like, you guys don't have a good receiving core, and you're not trying to screw up his confidence.
Yeah, I would agree with the receiving core part. We don't really have a second wide receiver. DK Metcalf, great receiver, and George Pickens is doing very, 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 very special things right now. We'll talk about Pickens a little bit later. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking about Pickens a little bit later. But it's just tough. It's tough watching because I remember going into the game against the Bears, a lot of people were, because Mason Rudolph played good when he came in for Rodgers, and everybody was like, oh, Mason Rudolph should be the starting quarterback over Rodgers. He's better than Rodgers. I heard a lot of the Steelers fan base talking about it like that, and I'm just like, were you watching the Steelers a couple of years ago with Rudolph? Rudolph is a quarterback that can get the job done, but he's not a quarterback that's gonna win you a game. He's not going to be the quarterback that goes out there and wins you a game with his performance. If you have good defense, good running backs, good receivers, good tight ends, he can wheel the ship. That's what Mason Rudolph can do. He's really good at wheeling the ship. Someone like Aaron Rodgers can go out there and win you a football game just because he's freaking Aaron Rodgers, He's Aaron Rodgers. He can make those sort of passes. But I don't know. It's disappointing. Hopefully we see Will Howard out. I would love to at least see him get a couple of like snaps, at least like get him in some situations. Like I know a couple of times this year the Giants, at least when Russell Wilson and the Giants were on good terms, they used to like when before Dart started and then after Dart started, they had a couple of different instances where they put Jackson Dart in at quarterback for a couple of plays. And then when Jackson Dart started, there was a couple of times where they would put Russell Wilson in for a couple of plays, mainly because Russell Wilson's really good at the deep ball. So I would at least like to see something like that. At least I want to see something. I want to see Will Howard on the field in some sort of aspect, personally. But let's move on to Grok, because we do have a new Grok segment this week. Last week I asked Grok to see the future, essentially. But now we're going to ask Grok its opinion. On this week, we have, hey, Grok, what is your opinion on things? And the question I have for Grok this week is, who does Grok think is the most underrated player in the NFL? That's the question I have for Grok this week. So let's open this up and ask Grok that question. Hey, Grok, who do you think is the most underrated player in the NFL in 2025. All right, let's see what Grok has to say, and Grok will give its answer, and then me, Cory, and Tyler will kind of give our brief answers and our brief thoughts on who we may think is the most underrated player in the NFL at the current moment. Like, what's a player that no one's really talking about? Obviously, I would kind of exclude O-linemen out of this, because even the best O-linemen don't get talked about there that much, which is unfortunate. But let's see. He said, hey, Grok says, hey, that's a fun one to chew on. Underrated players are always subjective, but based on consistent production without the hype, I'd go with Terry McLaurin. That's a very good pick, Scary Terry. Even though he's been hurt a lot of this season, it's been a very difficult year for Scary Terry. But the wide receiver of the Washington Commanders is the guy that he has to mention. Actually, little honorable mentions at the bottom for Cardinals players. We got Garrett Williams, and we have James Conner. Of course, James Conner is injured at the moment as well, but I would consider him a very underrated player myself. And I guess I'll leave that to Cory at this point. Cory, who do you think is a pretty underrated player in the NFL?
I'm trying not to give biased picks. If I was to choose a Cardinal, I think Mac Wilson. Linebackers don't get a lot of love, so it's kind of like hard to say. Mac Wilson does everything for us. And then I think I told you this before the season started, so it kind of seems like a biased pick now. But George Pickens is insane, and I knew with the Steelers that the way you guys run your offense, it's hard to have a player blow up like Antonio Brown did. Mm-hmm. You can't do that now in the Steelers offense. But George Pickens is going crazy. So that would be mine. If I was to throw one out there, I think Trey McBride gets enough love now, so it's not really underrated.
Yeah,
I think
a couple weeks ago,
Smith. I think Devontae Smith could get more love.
I would agree.
On the Eagles offense, it being so talented, he kind of gets overshadowed a lot.
Tyler, do you have someone in mind for a most underrated player in the league?
If you're going to go with a Patriots player, you have to go Christian Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
Dude's an absolute
Gonzo.
beast and doesn't get talked about.
Gonzo might be the best corner in the league. He might be.
For sure. But if you're not going to go with the Patriots, I'd go with John Jennings from
the Niners.
I believe he plays for San Fran.
Yeah, the Niners, yeah.
But
he got punched in the dick.
He's been a huge piece for them. Yes, he did.
He's the one that got punched in the dick. And we will be talking about John Jennings getting punched in the dick a little bit later. But, yeah, I would agree with both of those. I would personally say Kyle Duggar. Ever since he came to the Steelers, he's just been fantastic. And Scary Terry was actually a really good pick for Grok. If Scary Terry wasn't hurt so much this season, he'd probably be a big mention for him. And honestly, Davis Mills. I've been very impressed with Davis Mills. I don't know if you guys are really noticing what he's doing down there in Houston, but he looks like a pretty good quarterback to me. I think I'm going to say this real quietly, but I think the Vikings should get him. I think the Vikings should get him. I think the Vikings should go get Mills.
No.
Make him 9. He's the new 9. Give him the number 9.
One more shout out.
What's up?
I think Tyler Warren, the tight end rookie with the Colts, doesn't get enough love.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough love yet. I think he's one of the best. He's going to be
He might be the best tight end right now.
4-round draft pick next year. Yeah, he's going to be really good.
That's a
stupid Bears drafted Loveland before.
Yeah, I drafted Loveland in my fantasy draft, so I feel the pain. I mean, Loveland's done well though, actually. He's been picking it up the last couple of weeks. He's really figuring it out now. But Tyler Warren's a freak of nature. Yeah. I hear on Pat McAfee, I think Pat's the one that calls him a Sasquatch, and I think that's a good that's good analyzing of him, because he is pretty much a Sasquatch. He's just a big freaking dude who's going to run everybody over, and he reminds me of Gronk. I think that's a good comparison for him is Gronk. He's just a big fucking dude, and he can just run people over. He can catch the ball wherever. He can go up and catch the ball wherever. And at the same time, he's good at run blocking and pass block. He's good at everything. Anything you need a tight end to do, he's good at. Like I said, he could be the next Gronk. Like I think he's on that sort of level. He's that guy's talented. So I think that's a very good call when it comes to Tyler Warren. All right. Let's move on to America's team. Let's move on to the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? What an amazing comeback by the Cowboys the other night. Dak Prescott went off in the second half. I think he went 14 for 23, over 200 passing yards in the second half the other night. George Pickens going crazy with 5 receptions and 100 yards the other night in the second half. So just insane job by the Cowboys on Sunday against the Eagles, coming back from 20-0 to win 21-20. Just an amazing job by the Cardinals. I'm not the Cardinals, the Cowboys. They might be something this year, and Jerry Jones might have it all figured out. He might have known all along. A lot of people were talking a lot of crap about Jerry Jones, as you should. Jerry Jones says a lot of bullshit. Like, let's be honest. Jerry Jones says a lot of bullshit, and he said it. He said it himself before. He likes the entertainment. He likes bringing the drama. He likes all this because it just makes the Cowboys more money. It makes him more money. So he's been very open about that. But him trading Micah Parsons, I still think, is probably one of the worst trades ever, but then potentially could end up being one of the worst trades ever. I'm still not buying it just because we're only 1 year in it, and I've seen George Pickens in that locker room, so I'm not buying it. I ain't buying it yet, but George Pickens is very special. And I knew that when he was with the Steelers. That's why it was a little iffy for me at first. Like the idea, like I wanted to trade him, but there was a part of me that's like, this George Pickens might be the best receiver in the league. Like I saw the way he played. I was like, especially when he was with Pickett and Pickens, like those two, for some reason, had great chemistry and they had some great moments together, those two. And I'm like, Pickens could potentially be one of the best players in the league. But like a lot of Steelers receivers, just a big time trouble in the locker room. I personally wanted him gone. And personally, at the moment, I'm not regretting it. At the moment, ask me a year from now and then I might regret it. But George Pickens is balling out. 2nd in yards, 3rd in receiving yards, 8th in receptions on the year. I'd say personally he's the second best wide receiver this season, only behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's just completely balling out with Sam Darnold out there in Seattle. But what are y'all's thoughts on the boys? Like the Cowboys were able to come back from being down big the other day against the Eagles and got a victory. They were able to get a victory in clutch time. Tyler?
Yeah, they definitely pulled it off. It was surprising. I didn't expect them to pull it off at all.
Yeah, it was an amazing comeback by the Cowboys. Them able to pull that comeback, and I think Jerry Jones looks real smart with this George Pickens move because they didn't really give up a lot for Pickens. I think they gave up a 3rd and a 5th rounder for George Pickens. Like George Pickens is just looking amazing out there, Tyler. What are your thoughts on him? He's a freak.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it. He's averaging like 40 points for my fantasy every week. So that's been like an absolute pull. So I picked him up out of like a complete whim because everybody was like, nah, he's not going to do anything. First couple of weeks took him to get settled in. Man's been killing it ever since.
Yeah, Pickens has been just balling. He's been balling out. And just to make a quick note, some of you may have heard the little boom. Cory did. His computer unfortunately crashed on us again. Definitely some issues over there. That sucks. And hopefully he'll be back before we end up finishing up here in a minute. About to talk about the Patriots here in a second. But George Pickens, he's balling. Second best receiver in the league right now. Like I said, I was iffy about at the time of the trade. I definitely still think that we should have gotten more than a 3rd and a 5th rounder. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering that correctly, that's what we got. A 3rd and a 5th rounder, 3rd round pick for next year's draft, and a 5th round pick for the 27 draft. If I'm remembering that correctly. At the time, I'm like, that's that's not enough for George Pickens. But at the same time, I'm like, just get him out. Because he was a cancer to that locker room, in my opinion, at the time. Maybe that was also a lesson for him. Hopefully it is a lesson for him, and he's been great. I haven't heard anything negative come from George Pickens when it comes to the Cowboys locker room, so maybe that is a good thing. Hopefully that is a good thing, and hopefully he continues doing what he's doing. But at the current moment, I do not regret us trading Pickens as a Steelers fan at the moment. But like I said, ask me again in a year. If Pickens continues this up in a year and doesn't have any incidents, saying something wild in the media or coming at a different at one of his teammates or something like that. If I don't hear anything about that over the next year, then I'll be like, damn, we really traded one of the best receivers in the league for pretty much nothing. Because talent wise, just pure talent wise, George Pickens might be the best receiver in the league. If we're talking just pure talent wise, he's a speedster. He has hops like nobody else. He has such an amazing vertical. He can go up and get the ball. He has great at route running. He can shake almost any defender. He's really the whole package. I think the only part he might lack on is his effort in the run game and like run blocking and stuff like that. But I don't expect a lot of receivers to put in that sort of effort. I remember Edelman, for you guys, Edelman used to live off that shit. Edelman used to do the special teams and stuff. Edelman was a hell of a guy for y'all, Tyler.
Edelman was absolutely a beast.
Yeah, Edelman was
the
awesome.
only guy we had for a good 2-3 years.
I liked Edelman because he was like the everything man. He can do about anything for y'all. He would, like I said, sometimes he would run the ball. Sometimes he would hand him the ball to be running back. I think he made a couple of passes at one point. He played special teams. He'd block on the run. He'd do everything. That guy's a Swiss Army knife. Wasn't that his nickname? Or am I thinking of somebody else? There was somebody that was nicknamed Swiss Army knife.
That wasn't Jules. Jules was Squirrel.
Okay. I'm about to say I don't think that was his nickname. But that would have been a good nickname for him too, because he could do about anything. And if you just look at Julian Edelman, he doesn't have the build at all of a football player. Like if I saw him in person, I would be like, you're one athletic ass horse jockey. Like that's what I would think. I was like, this is one athletic ass horse jockey, but he's a baller.
He was drafted as a he's drafted as a quarterback, so like dude was just crazy.
No, I like Jules. I like Julian Edelman a lot. He's great. He's great. Looks like we may have Cory returning after his computer crash. Cory, how are we doing? We were just talking about the Cowboys and George Pickens. I was just telling Tyler about George Pickens and how I think George Pickens might be the second best receiver in the league, but just the way he was in our locker room at the current moment, I still don't necessarily regret trading him, even though it was for a third and a fifth rounder, if I'm remembering that correctly. But ask me in a year and I might be crying. If you ask me in a year, I might be crying. But at the current moment, I'm going to wait. It's too early. But what do you think about the Cowboys' performance against the Eagles, making that comeback, and then George Pickens and just him being George Pickens?
You know what's funny is that last week when we made our picks, the Cowboys went beating the Eagles was something I forgot to. I literally picked it in my pick'em league, and I was like, coming back from 21, I did not expect that, but that was a good game. And I don't know, division rivalries always end up in like a weird way, so kind of wasn't surprised, but it was a cool comeback. And then I told you in the offseason when the Steelers traded him, I think it's a win-win for both sides because I think George Pickens is the most underrated receiver in the league. And I knew that with the way the Steelers didn't know who their quarterback was, with the way you guys are running your offense, that he was going to be great with Dallas and Dak Prescott and that offense there. So I don't know. It was kind of good for both sides. It also kind of sucks. It's going to suck for Steelers fans because he's going to do this for years, barring injury. So, and
other stuff.
I don't know second best talent wise. I think he needs to do it for 2 or 3 years in a row to get that. But coming out of the draft, man, he has abilities that he hasn't even shown off with the Dallas Cowboys yet. One-handed catches, Odell Beckham Jr. type catches. Like, he can do those. But right now he's just excelling at that receiver 2 role for Dallas. So I'm a big fan of George. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, I want Pickens to do well because I was talking to Tyler when Pickens was with Pickett. Those two had a great chemistry, and I was seeing moments. I'm like, this guy Pickens could potentially become the best receiver in the NFL. I just think he's that sort of talent. But like I was telling Tyler, I felt like he was kind of almost a cancer in the locker room when he was with the Steelers. Just would always say the wrong thing to the
Yep.
media. He would call out teammates. He did everything that you're not supposed to do as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He did literally everything you're not supposed to do as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He did it. And we've had a lot of and I think it was also a PTSD thing for myself as well, because the Steelers have gone through so many receivers that have just been big time trouble in the locker room, and I was just like, I don't want this. I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to see it anymore. Like, I'm seeing highlight videos of Antonio Brown popping up on my TikTok every day, and it makes me want to cry. I loved that man, and he's just not that man anymore. So I didn't want any more. I didn't want any more troublesome receivers. DK Metcalf, he's good with me. Why can't every receiver be Hines Ward? Like, why? Why can't every receiver be like Hines Ward?
Or Larry.
Or Larry. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald. Like, it's always receivers and cornerbacks. It's always receivers and cornerbacks that are the trouble. That's just what I've noticed. It's always the receivers and the cornerback. You never hear anything about like the O lineman or like the linebacker. Or it's always the corner or the receiver. The fastest people on the field are usually the ones. I don't get it. But hopefully Pickens keeps it up. Hopefully he keeps it up. But let's get to Tyler's team. I think we're just gonna be talking about. We're gonna have to make a weekly segment about these guys because they're too good. The evil empire has returned. The Patriots are leading the division, and Tyler did call. We had our upset picks last week, and I think we should do that again. We should actually do that again this week. I think I have an upset pick in mind. But Tyler picked the upset pick perfectly last week. He picked the Texans to beat the Bills, and now the Patriots are leading the division after the Patriots barely escaping the Bengals over the weekend. But I wanted to go over these Super Bowl stats real quick, just their offensive points ranking and their defensive points ranking. And I feel like these are two of some of the most important stats in all of football. And these were their rankings for each of their Super Bowl years. They were ranked in the top 5 or top 10 for every single year, for every single stat, except for 2003. They were ranked 12th in offensive points, but they were also the best defense in football that year. And then this year so far, 7th in the offense, 6th in the defense. Drake May is an MVP contender. And it's just, I feel like every week we're just going to be talking about the New England Patriots and how great they're doing. The Titans don't look good right now at all. They have 1 win on the year. They fired Mike Vrabel after Mike Vrabel brought them to an AFC championship. And now I think Mike Vrabel is back with the Patriots, and he's never leaving the Patriots. And if he continues on this path that he's on, Mike Vrabel and the Patriots as a whole, I suggest that Mike Vrabel, because I think Gronk was asked about it during his press conference when he did the one-day contract. Hey, where should they build your statue? And he was like, oh, put me like a little statue in the end zone or something. Like Tom should only be the only one with a statue. And I agree with that. I think Tom Brady should be the only one with a statue unless Mike Vrabel is the new Bill Belichick, because that guy is New England. And I assume Tyler has to agree with that as well, because I've been so impressed with the way these Patriots have looked this season. Mike Vrabel, I think, is probably going to win Coach of the Year. The Titans look like a bunch of doofuses firing his ass. I still don't know why they did that. It was one of the most idiotic decisions I've ever seen. And the Patriots have struck gold again. Y'all are like Jimmy Johnson in the 2000s. You have like just a golden horseshoe stuck up your ass.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you ask me, it probably turned out to be Robert probably paid off the Titans to have Vrabel, because there's no way in hell that he wanted Mayo to begin with, and that whole thing was a nightmare, and he fired him so quickly that it tells me he was just waiting for the moment to get Mike. So, my Mike's killing it. He's brought back everything that matters. He's bringing back the cornerback machine that the Patriots are. I mean, defense matters just as much as offense. He knows how to make this team run, and he's doing it right. He's taken all the little things from Bill that actually made a difference and mattered, and gotten rid of all the rest. He still loves his boys. He makes sure that every single one of them gets a fist bump and a hug when they walk back into that locker room. So, I mean, he's bringing the heart back. He really is.
Yeah, I like the way Vrabel is running it over there. Seems like him and Drake May just have like insane chemistry. Those two seem like a match made in heaven over there. Everything just looks great for the Patriots, and I don't think I heard Cam Newton talking about fool's gold, and I heard Stephen A. Smith yapping. He's always yapping. I heard these guys yapping, and the Patriots, they're back. They're back. We have to accept that they're back. They have probably one of the best, and it doesn't even get talked about. They have probably one of the best backfields in the NFL. Their running back core is insane. And Trevion Henderson, that guy has a bright future. That kid is amazing. They have great receivers as well. And Stephon Diggs, they finally have the best version of Stephon Diggs. He's not this locker room issue. He's not this trouble off of the field like he has been in the past. He's being a leader of this football team, doing all the right things. Like, the Patriots look scary right now, and they have the most cap room next year as well. I think we're at the beginning of a brand new Patriots dynasty right here. And it's, as a Steelers fan, it's very scary because we lost to them every year in the playoffs almost. And the couple of years we made it past them, guess what? We won the Super Bowl. And then we lost to the Packers one year, which sucked. And now we have their quarterback. But the Patriots, they're back. They're back to being the kings of the AFC, I would say. Cory, what are your thoughts on all this? The Pats, Mike Vrabel, Drake May.
And it's crazy how little talked about coaching or good coaching is. Like, as a Cardinal fan, I've never witnessed it, but, watching successful teams and successful franchises, like, you don't have to have the biggest names.
You had Arians, actually,
to have a winning record to make the playoffs. I mean, it's been what, a decade and a half.
He was a good coach,
but
though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's been forever.
Yeah.
And we didn't win a Super Bowl with him, and then he went to the Bucks and won a Super Bowl. So we just mismanage everything. But yeah, the Patriots are talented, man. They don't have the best roster on paper. They don't have the deepest roster on paper, but they've drafted people to fit needs, and they are playing to their advantages. And Drake May is not making mistakes. And honestly, the turnover battle isn't talked enough, but teams that don't turn the ball over tend to win, unless you're the Cardinals and you make Jacksonville turn the ball over 6 times and you still lose.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a lot of fun for sure. And I think we saw something like that on Monday night too, where Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions in the first half and the Panthers couldn't freaking score. You need to make points off those turnovers. You really do. You really do. But the Patriots look freaking scary. Cory, you were just mentioning it right there. The Cardinals are not. They're not scary at all. Are you kind of already looking forward to the offseason? Like, what's your thoughts just on the Cardinals in general? And the Jaguars this past week, I feel like y'all should have. Did you see that play where it should have been a safety? That weird call? What did you think about that? I forgot to even bring that up to you. But I thought they needed to look at that rule in the offseason.
That rule's very dumb because he didn't know that rule. Like, I don't care who you are, Jaguars fan or not. He went, I can escape by going backwards. He went backwards, got tackled by 10 people, and they said, oh, it's not a safety. He's down at the 2. And I guess the rule is if the punting team touches it, it's down.
It's dead.
Where the guy grabs it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why is he trying to run with the ball then? Why didn't they blow the whistle dead when he picked it up? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's such a dumb rule. Anyways, but we coached our way out of a win. Our defense played phenomenal. Our defense is underrated. We have a lot of good rookies that are underrated, but our offense is the most incompetently run thing in the league. And one thing that isn't being talked about enough that is ridiculously dumb is if it's 4th and 4 in overtime and you have 4 minutes left, what are you going for, Kyle?
4th and 4 in overtime and 4 minutes left?
5 yards? 6? 7? Right?
6, 7.
We threw a 40-yard bomb to our 5th receiver on the roster who was double covered. I know you can. Exactly. I'm going to get off now. But, no, we throw it to our fifth receiver who was double covered 40 yards downfield. And our coach goes, "It's a great play. It was a great play. It was trying to win the game." I'm like, okay, but that's why we suck. So I know incompetency and good coaching goes a long way, and the Cardinals are far from it, and we're on our 10th coach to figure it out since Bruce left. So yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
Go Suns.
Yeah, I think I think the Cardinals are going into rebuild mode after their rebuild, after their rebuild, after their rebuild. They're rebuilding their rebuild. Is that accurate?
Yep.
I'd say that's pretty
100%.
Kyler's back next year,
100%.
right? He's the starting quarterback next year, right?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's not even if I had the choice, I'd keep him again, but he's the best quarterback we've had since Carson Palmer. But I feel like he's just had a bunch of incompetent coaches, and I don't blame Cliff for failing. I just think Cliff was given too much too quickly. But he's gonna go succeed somewhere else. I already know it. And he's a good person off the field. He's really good to have in your city, dude. Like really good. So it sucks to see it not work out, but I doubt he's back.
Yeah, the Cardinals are on tough times. You can't see it, Cory, but I'm holding up my 2021 Cardinals playoffs towel that I have here. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough times for the Cardinals. Very, very tough times for the Cardinals.
Rip
to the Cardinals. All right, before I send the Pacecar boys on their way, we do have a couple of viral clips that we're going to go through. We were supposed to go through some last week, and we did go through some last week, but I forgot to turn the volume off on them, so we weren't really able to talk about Jamar Chase, Spitgate, and I wasn't able to tell off the whole Bengals organization like I wanted to, but it's all good. I'm pretty sure I'll probably get another opportunity to do that because they are the Bengals. But let's get to this. Let's talk about some of these viral clips that I have lined up for us. I'm going to play this first one with the sound and everything, so... here's Jameis Winston pregame for the Giants.
Let's get it! Yo. Hey, yo, check this out. Check this out. Hey, we outside, but we inside. Come on. We outside, but we inside. Come on. I want everybody to go outside of their boundaries and do whatever it takes to pull a win. Come on. We got to be desperate for greatness. Yeah. Desperate for greatness. Come on. How bad do we want it? Let's find out. Here we go. Let's go, man. Let's get it. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family.
All right, so that was Jameis Winston there. We inside, but we outside. We inside, but we outside. I love Jameis. I love Jameis. I just think he's such a great personality. I think he's overall a really good quarterback too. I just think he just gets too confident at times and just forces the ball into situations he probably shouldn't. But he's willing to take that chance. I think he could succeed maybe in a couple of teams as well as a starter, potentially. Maybe the Vikings. Vikings might need a quarterback. They might. But I just love Jameis. He's probably one of my favorite athletes. I just love the guy. He's just so much fun. He's so entertaining. He's a great leader of a football team. He always just has a great quote out there. Tyler, what do you think about this, man? Jameis Winston, famous Jameis.
And he's the life of the party. No matter what team he's on, you always hear the players talking about how much they love having him there. So sad that he doesn't get more of an opportunity when he obviously can play. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt that way about Jameis. I think he was in New Orleans, I think, at the time. He was kind of learning from Breeze a lot, and when Breeze retired, I was like screaming, "Hey, Jameis Winston is your guy. Jameis Winston is your guy." And they tried it. I think they even played Jameis for a couple of games, but they never really handed the keys to Jameis in New Orleans. And I think at the time when he was in New Orleans, they could have continued that dynasty, if you will. I wouldn't necessarily go as far to say it's a pure dynasty because they only won the one Super Bowl. But every year, the Saints with Drew Brees were competitive. And I think Jameis really could have led that team. At this point, I think he said it himself. He wants to stay with the Giants because he has a lot of confidence in Jackson Dart, and he wants to win a Super Bowl. and he thinks he could win a Super Bowl with the Giants as a backup quarterback. And he'd be one of the best, if not the best backup quarterback in the NFL, I would say. Cory, Jameis is just pure entertainment, and this isn't a surprise, this sort of pregame speech that he had. We inside, but we outside.
Oh, dude, I love Jameis, man. Jameis is awesome. I think I saw an X post like a year or two ago that said, if we ever had an alien invasion, we need Jameis Winston to represent humanity and negotiate for us, because
him and Dennis Rodman,
he'll inspire them. So yeah, no, I love Jameis. To be honest, he's good to have for the league in general. It's good to see him have a voice. I think I saw a video today of him. Like, they asked him what he eats for Thanksgiving, and it's like a 45-second clip. He's like talking about his wife's family and how Taysom Hill showed him this turkey to get, and it's succulent and all that. I'm like, dude, he's just funny, man, dude. I love Jameis.
Yeah, Jameis is just a fun guy. I really enjoy that guy. I enjoy his personality. And anytime you get him in front of a mic or in front of cameras, he's always going to do something. I hope they have him mic'd up for these past couple of weeks. I think they had him mic'd up when he played a couple weeks ago, but I hope they had him mic'd up for this last week too. They should just, anytime he's on the field, he should just have a mic in his helmet. You should always just have one in there. Like, it should just never not be in there, because he's just pure entertainment. I love that guy. All right, let's get to another one of these clips, and this one's not quite as funny, I would say. We had Trayvon Moehrig. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Trayvon Moehrig from the Panthers just uppercut Jauan Jennings right in the dick with the cast on his hand and everything. That is wild. Some of you may have saw after the game, Jauan Jennings even went over there and got into a little bit of a shoving match with Trayvon, and they got into a little bit of an argument. At the time, I was like, oh, what the hell is Jauan Jennings doing? And then they show this clip like 30 seconds later. I'm like, oh, like he flat out Mike Tyson'd him. He Mike Tyson'd his dick. Like that's what happened right there, which is just crazy to me that he did that. That's some crazy shit. I would say that he did that right there. Just punched him straight in the dick. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this? This is just sportsman. Like, there's just no sportsmanship out there right now, I would say. And I think that's probably Cory crashing again, isn't it? Is that Cory crashing again?
No, Tyler's stuff died.
What the hell? I feel like this is, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's always
good.
It's always
we'll
one.
just,
All right, Cory.
Funny.
What are your thoughts on this?
He probably deserved it. He's a 49er he deserved it. Yeah. I think we need to hear what was said on the field. Jauan Jennings probably said something he shouldn't have, and he said, and that one game suspension's worth it, a little uppercut to the nuts. He's in San Fran, he's used to it.
A little uppercut to the nuts, exactly. That's what we saw right there, just craziness. And Moehrig did get suspended for one game. No, I know you are, but that's the point. That's the point in this. We're having fun. You don't need to say.
I'm a Cardinal fan. That's the context, guys. I'm a Cardinal fan.
Unfortunately, he's a Cardinals fan. All right, let's get to the Let's get to the next clip we have right here. And this one, I don't know why we got to see this every week at this point, but we have another player spitting on a player again. We have the quarterback of Colorado State, who just ended up getting their new head coach, Jim Mora, who's back trying to be a head coach again. He has been coaching UConn, and he just accepted the job at Colorado State earlier today. But his quarterback is doing. I think this is the quarterback. I don't watch Colorado State at all, so I don't know who Curry is. It's definitely not Steph Curry though. This isn't Steph Curry that's spitting on this Boise State player, but. We need to get rid of this. Why are we having people spit on players every week, Cory? Like, I don't get it.
Hey man, I don't know.
It's a new thing.
Maybe you just can't hold on to. It's like it's a new trend. It's a cool thing to do. Now the kids in high school and middle school are gonna start spitting at each other.
They're just gonna spit each other and say 6, 7.
I pray to God that doesn't happen. That's disgusting, dude. No one wants unwilling body fluid from somebody else being directed towards them.
Just a little.
But yeah.
Just a little side
Sucks to
note.
see.
Just a little side note. Did you see Jamar Chase's apology? How he apologized to everybody except for Jalen Ramsey? Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Jamar Chase
sounds awesome.
Jamar Chase released a statement. He's like, I apologize to the fans. It's like a written statement. I don't think he wrote it. He probably had somebody else write it. But I apologize to the fans, the Bengal organization, and the Steelers organization for my actions, and yada, 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 yada. It doesn't mention Jalen Ramsey one time. He doesn't apologize to the guy he spit on. I hate this guy.
100%. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. You can't let them win. He already took $500,000. He already took $500,000 from him. He's not getting I'm sorry. He took $500,000 from me.
He took $500,000 from me. The fact that spit hit you is the reason I'm broke. I'm broke. Even though I have like $400 million.
He's like, he shouldn't have been there. He's like, he shouldn't have been there.
He was in my way. I had cotton mouth, okay? Like, I don't understand. That's wild. All right, let's move on to the last clip here. This one, a little more TMZ-ish, I guess, to a certain extent. We're all big fans of Josh Allen. I'm a big fan of Haley Seinfeld, his new wife. She's in Bumblebee. I'm a big fan of Bumblebee, my second favorite Transformers movie. She's the new Hawkeye. We have a celebrity relationship right here. I usually wouldn't really give something like this any sort of attention, but literally all the Haley fans are kind of like Taylor Swift fans, except more psycho, apparently, from what I've been seeing on the internet. I've been seeing a lot of tweets and a lot of quotes to that video in particular. Haley Seinfeld's fans like hate Josh Allen. Like, they literally want him dead. Like, they're like, cheating piece of shit, hope you die type shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, this motherfucker hasn't even cheated. He hasn't done anything. He's just the quarterback of the Bills. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. You can get mad at him for that.
I think the major difference, man. I think the major difference is that Taylor Swift, her fans are primarily females who support her and probably didn't watch football. And now Haley Seinfeld, actors get more, female attractive actors get more fans from like boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that now she's
It's probably a mix.
That's all the fans that are like, we hate him. We hate Josh Allen. You can't marry her. That's what it is. It's not. It's
all the Dolphins
he's a bad
fans.
human.
It's all the Dolphins fans, I bet. But I just found that kind of interesting. I was like, what did he even do anything? This guy is just, the only thing he hasn't done is win a Super Bowl. That's only, like, you can get mad at him for that. That's, other than that, I don't know why all y'all hate him so much.
It's all the kids going, she was mine, go and die.
Because, like, I'm always going to see tweets about, like, athletes and celebrities, like, oh, I hate that guy, oh, I hate that girl, this and that. I'm like, whatever. But it was just, like, overwhelmingly loading up my Twitter. Like, it was just, like, overloading my Twitter. I just saw so many tweets. And I'm like, how am I even in this algorithm right now? Like, Twitter got me in the algorithm of kill Josh Allen. Like, that was my algorithm. I was like, what? I love Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite players. He's great. He's awesome. I didn't get it.
That's hilarious.
I was like, what the fuck? All right, but that'll actually do it for this week's edition of Off Track Sports. A little over an hour of a show. Like I said, it sounds like we lost Tyler. That's 2 straight off track. I don't know what's up with the Off Track Sports episodes, but last week we lost Cory at one point, and we lost Tyler at a separate point. And then same thing this week. We lost Cory at one point, and then we lost Tyler at a separate point. I'm not sure. Y'all might need to bring your computers over here so my dad can work on them or something, because my dad's really good with computers like that. I'm just putting that offer out there right now because I think
mine overheated. I think his is probably last week was the storms.
Yeah, the storms. Yeah,
this one I think was because of the. I think mine just overheated because it's been on for like 3 hours.
And actually, that won't do it for this week's edition of Off Track Sports, but that will do it for Cory's part of this, because I am going to have a little bit of a college football chat to finish up this episode, and then I'm going to move on with the rest of my night. But Cory, who did the Cardinals play this week, and what are your thoughts heading into the weekend before you got to say bye-bye?
Who do the Cardinals play this week? I don't care. No, I'm kidding. The Cardinals play, or they're going to lose to.
They're going to lose to
The Bucks. If Baker doesn't play, it'll be interesting, but I doubt it. We're not coached smartly, so. And then go Suns. They play right now. I'm gonna go watch that.
Oh, yeah, game's starting right now. Yeah.
I don't watch college football that much, but go ASU.
Yeah, ASU play Arizona this week. It's rivalry week, so it's a big game. Arizona, they're both in the top 25 in rankings. They're both trying to get into a big bowl game. Neither of them can make it to the playoffs, though, but trying to make it to a good bowl game. But I appreciate you coming through, Cory. I'll text you when I'm all done here, but we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, senor. You have a good night, bro.
Yes, sir. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace.
All right, so that was Cory, part of the Pacecar Boys. Unfortunately, we did lose Tyler. But let me get into my college football chat before I let you on your way for this week's edition of Off Track Sports. And that's how I'm going to finish every episode of Off Track Sports, is with my college football talk. And I might even fit in some other stuff that I know they don't talk about from time to time, like some soccer, maybe some WWE. We do have some WWE this weekend. It's getting interesting over there in WWE. Right now, I think this weekend, what is it this weekend? I guess Survivor Series Wargames. We have some good matches over the weekend. We got some 5-on-5s for both the women's and the men's. The women's babyface team is insane. AJ Lee's back. They got a crazy team over there. They're probably gonna win. I think Stephanie Vaquer, she has a match during War Games as well. Who knows who may show up? I wouldn't be surprised to see Liv Morgan potentially show up this weekend for Survivor Series War Games. And then everything with The Last Time Is Now tournaments getting set up for John Cena. My boy Penta got injured on Monday, like actually injured, not one of the fake storyline injuries. Like he legitimately got injured. I saw him get injured. He's probably my favorite WWE wrestler. I'm very new to the WWE world. And when I started watching WWE, maybe a couple weeks after I started watching, Penta joined in, and he's so entertaining. I love that guy. And to see him get hurt really sucked. He'd ended up not winning in the Last Time Is Now tournament, got eliminated. Probably would have faced against Gunther. Gunther is probably going to win the tournament, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I'll use this portion of the show to talk about my WWE stuff, college football, maybe bring up some soccer, but primarily just going to talk about some college football right now. And I'm a big ACC guy, and Pitt has a chance at the ACC. Of course, I'm a huge Virginia Tech fan, but Pitt was able to win last week in a very, very important game against Georgia Tech, and have another very important game this weekend against Miami. And they've been very sneaky in the ACC, haven't done that well outside the ACC, with 2 out of their 3 losses coming to their rivals, their arch rivals of West Virginia, and then just getting the brakes beaten off of them by Notre Dame 2 weeks ago, and then barely losing to Louisville. So they got to win. The Pitt Panthers got to upset Miami, and that's probably my upset of the weekend. We forgot to make our upset picks a little earlier. I just remembered that. It's all good. But that's my upset pick of the weekend, is the Pitt Panthers over the Miami Hurricanes in college football. I think they're going to pull up the upset. And I could see Virginia Tech beating UVA this weekend as well in that big rivalry game. And then SMU against Cal. I don't see that as a big rivalry game for rivalry week, but SMU will have to defeat Cal, and Cal do have a big-time home field advantage. They have some crazy fans, surprisingly, out there. You saw them for game day last year, so we'll have to see how they do. But Pitt have a chance. Pitt have a chance of winning the ACC. It seems like nobody wants to win the ACC. The ACC is a horrible conference in college football this season. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to win it. And UVA and SMU control their own destiny. And SMU got to beat Cal, and UVA got to beat Virginia Tech. If UVA was at Virginia Tech, I would guarantee right now that Virginia Tech would win that game. But it isn't in Blacksburg. It's in Charlottesville. So they'll have to head to UVA and face the Cavaliers, the Hokies. So that hopefully that'll be a good game. Pretty sure that's a Friday. No, it's a Saturday night. That's a Saturday night game. But one game that is on Friday is actually Ole Miss. We have the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. And I think more people are talking about the head coach of Ole Miss compared to the game itself and the potential playoff run that Ole Miss could have. Ole Miss are probably having their best season they've ever had, at least in a very, very long time. Lane Kiffin has been around for a long time. He was coaching the Raiders at about 30 years old. He was coaching Tennessee, USC. Then he kind of fell off for a while there, rebuilt at Florida Atlantic, and then came over to Ole Miss, and he's just done fantastic ever since being at Ole Miss. That's why all the attention's on him at the current moment. His record since joining Ole Miss back in 2020 is 54-19, and 2010 through 2019 he went 56 and I mean, not him, but Ole Miss went 56 and 64 in that time frame. So they got around the same amount of wins, but way more losses in about a decade span compared to just a half a decade that Lane Kiffin has been in charge of Ole Miss, and he's garnered the attention from LSU and Florida, who are both making a big run at getting him. I've heard other places named as like potential places, but it seems like the only places that are heavily rumored as a legitimate possibility would be the LSU Tigers, the Florida Gators, or the Ole Miss Rebels, and of course, all three of them are located in the Southeastern Conference in the SEC. This is a tough decision for Lane, and the way they have the transfer window set up for college football right now, if he would accept one of these jobs, he most likely would not be able to coach Ole Miss throughout the playoffs because of the transfer window, because of recruiting, because of all that stuff, trying to get ahead of next year. They have early National Signing Day here soon. So all that stuff would be very difficult and almost impossible for Lane Kiffin to remain at Ole Miss through the playoffs if he accepted a job at Florida or if he accepted a job at LSU. And this is just, it's a tough decision. LSU and Florida, I would consider, a lot of people would consider them blue bloods. They're just big time part of college football. Like those are like the big programs of college football. You got Florida, you got LSU, you got Alabama, you got Texas. You got some of these schools that are just synonymous with having success in college football, that have a lot of money too, and that also get great recruits. Like there's a lot of great recruits in Florida. There's a lot of great recruits in Louisiana. So there's a lot of reasons why Lane Kiffin, and they're probably offering more money than Ole Miss. There's a lot of reasons why Lane Kiffin should accept those jobs. But me personally, I think he should stay at Ole Miss. This has been the most success he's had throughout his career, and he's been to a lot of places, and he's had success, whether it's short term or long term, at a couple of places. And he's also had failures at a lot of places too. But it seems like he's very happy where he's at. He seems like they're having a lot of success, and he's the face of that program. He's the face of that program. Ole Miss and the Rebels and everybody that is associated with Ole Miss love Lane Kiffin right now. But if Lane Kiffin would decide to leave for a rival in the SEC like LSU or Florida and potentially abandon Ole Miss for a playoff run, I think he'd be the most hated person in all of Mississippi at that point. I think they'd probably burn this. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but they'd burn the stadium down because of this. It's just, I wouldn't blame them. I would be mad as hell if I was an Ole Miss fan and Lane Kiffin left for LSU or Florida, because he's getting Ole Miss to almost, I wouldn't say they're blue blood, but they're getting to that, especially in this generation of college football. I don't think blue blood is necessarily really a thing anymore. Like, obviously, it's going to linger for a little bit, but 10, 15 years from now, I could potentially see college football teams having success that have never had success in college football before. Like, who knows? Maybe the Duke Blue Devils go win the 2035 national championship or something like that, just because it's the way college sports and college football are moving towards, and he is the face of that franchise, that program, and I just don't think he should leave. I really don't. I don't think it'd be stupid necessarily for him to leave, because I think he will find success at LSU or Florida. The first year or two would probably be tough, but after a year or two, he'd probably find a lot of success at those programs, at those universities. But he's built something very special at Ole Miss. This is the greatest time to be a Rebels fan, and I think it would be a spit in the face to a lot of those Ole Miss supporters and a lot of those Ole Miss boosters and fans of the Rebels. I think it would just be very unfortunate for them, and I would hate to see it, especially for the playoff, especially with those rules attached to the college football playoff, where they can take into account if they lose their coach or if they lose important players to the transfer window. They can take that into account and eliminate teams from the playoff. So that's interesting, and that would be, Ole Miss would really hate him at that point. If Ole Miss are pretty much locked into a playoff spot, then he leaves, and then the playoffs decide to put Vanderbilt, for example, in front of Ole Miss or something like that. That'd be crazy. And speaking of the playoff, before we actually do finish up this episode of Off Track Sports, I do want to briefly talk about the bracket that has been released, the updated rankings for the college football playoff bracket. A couple teams that I want to note that aren't currently part of this bracket that could join the bracket at the end of this week or at the end of championship week. Utah for sure and BYU. Those two teams are very talented, very good, and especially BYU. BYU only have one loss, and that one loss was to Texas Tech, who are one of the best teams in the country, and that was their only loss all season long. Utah, like I said, they've had a great year. Vanderbilt, I think for the most part, have had a great year, but have also had a very difficult schedule compared to a lot of these higher up teams that are competing for the college football playoffs. And Diego Pavia had an amazing game last week. I think he had 6 touchdowns and almost 500 yards or something crazy like that. So he's getting himself back into the Heisman conversation as well. So I think they're in consideration as well to get one of these spots. And then SMU, UVA, Pitt, the teams over in the ACC, because most likely Miami's not going to be in the ACC championship, and most likely Miami won't be in the college football playoffs. I think there's an argument to be made with Notre Dame, obviously, because Miami beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame are ranked ahead of Miami. I think they're taking a lot of other things into account as well. I personally agree, though. I think Miami probably should be above Notre Dame. They beat them heads up, and I think that's the best way to see if a team's better is by beating them heads up, even if it was really early on in the season. Other than that, I don't think I have any disagreements with this 12-team bracket. You got Tulane up there in the 12th spot. James Madison is right there. I would like to see James Madison make it, of course. Being a Virginia school, I would love to see them in there, but we'll have to see. But overall, I'm okay with this college football playoff bracket. I'd probably have A&M number 2. I think that still bothers me. I think A&M should probably be number 2, and Indiana should be number 3, just because of the strength of schedule. But other than that, I don't think I have any problems with that at all. I don't think I have problems with the bracket that they've released for the college football playoffs. But that will do it for this week's edition of Off Track Sports. And like I said, we're going to do this every week up until Super Bowl week. So I appreciate anybody who did tune in to this week's edition. It sucks that we lost Tyler partway through. We lost Cory for a couple minutes there. Hopefully we can get that stuff figured out. But yeah, go enjoy some football this weekend. We got the Steelers. Hopefully we're able to take one. We need to win this weekend. We desperately need to win. And I just don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in us right now on the offensive side of the ball. I don't trust Artie Smith to make the right calls. Our defense is finally balling, and now the offense isn't. It's like when the offense is balling, the defense isn't. When the offense is balling, the defense isn't balling. When the defense is balling, the offense isn't balling. But hopefully we're able to figure it out. But hopefully we can see you for next week, for next week's edition of Off Track Sports, or tune in for Hit the Pacecar, our other show where we talk NASCAR. Off Track Sports is just a bunch of motorsports super fans talking about other sports. But I appreciate anybody who tuned in. Leave your reviews, comments, replies. Let me know. All right. But for the Pacecar Boys, I'm Trackside Larry, and peace.